love to have you with us, Professor Nichols. And once Rayshard Brooks got a hold of that taser, was it considered a deadly weapon?
Arthel, thanks for having me on the show, but I think I want to point out something that's already been brought up by Mr. Brooks' attorney, Chris Stewart. A taser is not a deadly weapon. Law enforcement can't have it both ways. They can't argue that when they use a taser, it's not a deadly weapon, but then when a civilian gets his hands on it, it magically becomes a deadly weapon. Rayshard Brooks was clearly running away from the two officers. In addition to that, the officers had Mr. Brooks' car right there. They could have allowed Mr. Brooks to run away, and they could have gone to his house and arrested him later on. There was no need to shoot him 3 times in the back.
Atlanta's mayor says deadly force was unjustified, saying there is a difference between what can be done and what should be done.
You do have two different sides. You have the mayor of Atlanta stating that just because you can use deadly force absolutely does not mean that you should use deadly force. In my experience as a prosecutor, law enforcement are trained to use different tactics depending on the situation. There is not a one-size-fits-all that says you shoot someone in the back simply because they have your taser. There is other options that could have been exercised here that would have A, protected the immediate surroundings, B, placed Mr. Brooks under arrest, and C, allowed everyone to go back home alive. On one end of the spectrum, law enforcement could have just told him to call an Uber and go home, and they towed his vehicle. That way, there's no risk of him driving his car and either hurting himself or anyone else. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the fact that law enforcement could have allowed him to run away. As a prosecutor, I've prosecuted cases where individuals came into conflict with law enforcement, ran away, and the police let them run away. Why? Because they have their car. They know the person is not going to get far, and they're going to arrest them. If the purpose is to serve and protect the community, what danger was Mr. Brooks going to be with a bright yellow taser at 11 o'clock in the morning in downtown Atlanta? Or 11 o'clock at night, I apologize.
Do the police... I know what you meant, sir.